All right, week 5 review. We're going to start off with a kickoff play, then we're going to talk about a couple of forward progress spots, and then we're going to end up with a block below the waist and talk about whose responsibility it might be. So we're going to talk here just nothing particular about this play, really. Well, there's one block we want to look at the end, but we want to talk about who is responsible for who on these kickoffs. So we've talked before about onside kicks. We're not going to get into that today. So this is about kicks that are kicked deep. All right. So, but just as a reminder, we always officiate the onside kick first. We're always assuming that every kick is going to be an onside kick. This one's not. So what happens after that? Well, we have a numbering system for who's going to be responsible for which players. We're going to give our deep wing, who's a little off the screen over here. We're going to give our deep wing player number 1 and player number 2. Opposite deep wing also has players 1 and 2 on their from their side, counting from the outside in. All right. The umpire, who will be, this is true for 5 or 7 officials, the umpire who is on the R's restraining line home side or press box side will have players 3, 4, and 5, while the back judge, who is cage restraining line opposite the press box, will have 3, 4, 5, and the kicker, counting from their side. 3, 4, 5, and the kicker. All right, if we're working 5 officials, things get fairly difficult here, but it's what we have to do. If we're working 5 officials, our short wing is going to have number 1 and number 2 on the outside. When we say that's your initial responsibility, it's you will transition off of them if they're not being blocked, if there's no action around them. But if there is action around them, you're going to be responsible for them all the way down the field. Okay? So notice the first thing that's going to happen here is we know our back judge and our umpire are going to get out to the hash mark. So that's going to accomplish 2 things. The first thing is it's going to get you off the sideline and get you out of the wing official's way, who's going to run up, who's going to use that restricted area to work in, and they're going to have that forward progress spot. So you're going to get out of their way. But also it's getting you to the middle of the field so that you can officiate numbers 3, 4, and 5. You have those inside players, so you need to get to the inside of the field as soon as that ball clears R's restraining line. Don't come off the sideline if the ball doesn't clear that restraining line. All right, if it's an onside situation, we want to stay off. But when it's cleared and it's going to be a regular deep free kick, then we want to get off the sideline. All right, now, so we have our guys all the way down the field. So what about in a 7 official crew? What about the back 3 guys? We have a referee. We got 2 short wings back here. All right. So what are they looking at? Well, short wings, and if you look at most kickoffs, they happen in at least 2 waves. So there's usually this team is using basically a 2-level return play here. So we've got one line of contact that's going to occur, followed by a second. Sometimes, depending on how teams do it, sometimes there's a third. The short wings need to pick up that second line, or if there's a third line, but that second wave of contact. Same as the referee. The referee needs to pick up the second or third wave of contact right in front of the runner, and this other short wing will be picking this up also. Okay? So we have officials that are trailing the play, that are following certain players all the way down the field, and then they're trailing the kicking team, and then we have officials who are trailing the receiving team who are going to pick it up from the other side. Now let's use a particular block here as an example. If you follow player number 3, I do believe, or 4, let's find him right here. All right, it's actually player number 5. Okay, so our 5th player in is going to be blocked below the waist. Now we got to decide here in a second if that's going to be legal or not. Okay, but he is hit below the waist, so we need an opinion on that. So who's going to have an opinion on that? Well, it's the umpire's responsibility all the way down the field. So he's going to see this play. The referee should be picking up the blocks in front of the runner. And this short wing over here should be picking up blocks in front of the runner. So we're going to see from different angles all of this action that's taking place here. Now, what we see if we back it up and look at it is that this player is actually hit and knocked down. So he's knocked to the ground. It happens to be in front of a K-team player, and the K-team player then trips over him. So that's not a foul, okay? But we need 3 sets of eyes to have an opinion on that. And if our eyes go where they're supposed to be, that's what we'd have. So let's just hypothetically say that one of these 3 officials happened to think that was a block below the waist. He didn't see the whole play. He sees a player on the ground in front, tripping over. We think we got a block below the waist. So we drop a flag for it. Well, there should be at least 2 other officials here who can come in and talk about that play and provide that information that no, he was knocked to the ground, just so happened to be right in front of him. This is a tripping over a body, not an illegal block below the waist, and we can wave that off. Okay. But that would happen because we have our eyes in the right place. So know your responsibility on the kickoff. Know who you're watching. Be responsible for them all the way down the field. If you're a back judge, umpire, or deep wing, be responsible for those players all the way down the field. And if you're a short wing or referee, know when it's time to pick up those lead blocks. All right, now we're going to look at a couple of plays that have to do with marking forward progress near the line to gain. We've talked about this quite a bit, all right, over the last several weeks, okay? So here are 2 examples of good jobs, okay? This is the way we want this to look. So notice our situation, and this all comes back to situational awareness. We have to know the down and the distance, and we always have to know where the line to gain is. We have to be very, very conscious on every play. I don't care if it's 1st and 25. We have to be conscious of the line to gain. You can get a 24 and 3/4 yard run on 1st and 25, and we've got to know where that line to gain is. So especially though when we're 3rd down, 4th down, and short, here's a 3rd down and 2 play. So we got to know where it is. So let's get our run. We're going to get a run off right tackle, and he's going to be hit and stood up near the line to gain. Now we can see there that he's short of it. We're lucky here that our line to gain happens to correspond to a 5-yard line on a field that looks to be fairly well painted. So I think we can trust that line. We've checked all that in the pregame. We've decided in the pregame if we're going to trust our lines or not. Okay. If you're on a turf field, we're going to trust our lines. But in a grass field, we've walked this field and we've checked these lines, and we know before we ever start the game whether we're trusting these lines. So if we're looking at that line, we know he's short. Okay. And let's watch our short wing. As soon as that forward progress is stopped, here he comes all the way in a hurry with a little showing that presence. Okay. We're going to put that foot down. We're going to sell this spot. Everybody in the stadium knows that he's got that spot, and wherever he's fixing to put that ball down is probably going to be correct. Okay. He's going to make a believer out of everybody in the stadium that this ball is short of that line to gain. Now the film's going to cut off here, but what would happen next is the umpire is going to get that football to him, bring it, not going to put it on the ground. He's going to bring it to him and let him put it on the ground. Okay, and sell that spot. And he's already communicating to the referee, we got short, short, short. This is not a 1st down. Okay. One thing to note here at the top of the screen, I noticed, and we need to coach our box guys up in the pregame. So it's 3rd down, and notice he's switching it to 4th down. If we look up here, notice he's switching this to 4th down real quick. Like as soon as the play's over, he's already switched it to 4th down. All right, so in the pregame, talk to your box man about move the stake and then change it. And he doesn't need to change, especially on a situation like this. He doesn't need to change it until we tell him to change it, okay? Because this could cause a lot of confusion. If you're not really paying attention, you glance up right now, you might think it had been 4th down instead of going to be 4th down. And we could have a lot of confusion there. All right, here's another one, another good job. So we got 2 good jobs in a row. So this one's over near the sideline. Notice again, we're playing 4th down and about 3. Notice the short wing at the top of the screen who at the snap moves to that line to gain. So this is excellent situational awareness. This is not in your mechanics manual, but you're going to treat that line to gain on 3rd and short, 4th and short like the goal line. You're going to get there. We know from our football sense and our situational awareness that this play, whatever they're about to run, is designed to reach that line. So get to that line. Okay, so if you see our short wing at the top, they're getting to that line. At the snap, there they go, they're on the line. Now, the bottom, it's a little different because the play's coming right at you and you may feel the need to retreat just a little bit. That's understandable. You have to kind of do sometimes what you have to do. All right, but we're down short of the line to gain. Right there. Okay. So we're down short of the line to gain. Again, we were lucky here that our line to gain corresponded to a big painted line. That's rarely going to be the case. If it's not, then you really, really have to sell it even extra. Okay. So if we're on a non-5 yard line for the line to gain, then you have to be even more emphatic about how you spot this ball. Okay. But let's watch our short wing down here at the bottom. Okay. All right. As soon as he's down, we see our short wings shaking his head. No, no, no. We can tell right now he's already communicating. Who's he communicating to? These coaches right here. This is the team that wants the first down. This is the team who has the ball. That's the head coach and a couple of assistant coaches. And I'm sure they're providing their own input here as to where that ball should be spotted. They're always willing to help. But we're automatically telling them before we've even moved up to spot the ball, we're already saying, no, 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 he didn't make it. It's short, short, short. Okay, you've turned the ball over. Just go ahead and you're preempting that conversation. All right, and that's an excellent job. And we come out here and we got to dodge some players. We don't want to get our leg broke in there. Okay, so we don't want to get hurt. Okay, got a little extracurricular going on. Okay, just playing football. All right, but we come in there, we've stuck our foot down, and let's watch our deep wing and our short and our back judge come in. All right, so here they come hustling in. We got a back judge, we got a deep wing. Okay, ball boy's already out there. That's pretty normal. Okay, but we're going to come in here. We're going to get this football. All right, we're holding that spot. Of course, the coach he already knows he didn't make it because we've got our foot stuck down, and we've already told him he didn't make it. So argument's already over with if there's going to be one. But it cuts off again here on the film. But we're going to get this football up, and we're going to get it out here and let him get it on his foot. And that way we're going to sell this to everybody in the stadium. That he's short of the first down. It's going to be first down going the other way. All right. Very good job. Very good. Communication. All right. Now we got to play here with an illegal block below the waist. And what we really want to talk about here for a few minutes is we want to talk about how we could not miss this. Okay. Because this one's these plays they happen quick. This one is an example of something that kind of happens in the middle of a little bit of a gray area for some of us as far as who can see this. So let's talk about who can look at it. And anytime we miss a foul and we're reviewing film, that's what you want to focus on. All right. It's not that we didn't know this was a foul. And everybody on this crew I know knows that the defense can't block below the waist. But where do our eyes go that we get this? Okay. If you didn't know, for sake of conversation, for everyone else out there, if you didn't know that the defense can't block below the waist, just simply remember that if the offense can't go below the waist, then the defense can't either. The situations where that play is legal is the same for both offense and defense, and it's illegal for both offense and defense. All right, so we're going to get right here. This young man right here is going to illegally block below the waist right there. Okay. Play results in a touchdown, either way. All right. But let's talk about how we could see this. So let's go to the end zone view and let's talk about who's looking where. So initial responsibilities. Deep wing right there. Okay. We have 2 receivers outside the tackles over here, 1 tight end outside the tackles over here. Okay. If you want to call that a second one, it's fine. Either way, we're still going to end up looking at the same thing. All right, that's going to put because this is a press box side either way. So we're going to end up, however you look at it, whether it's a 2x1, that's going to make strong side the left side of this screen. Or if it's 2x2, then the press box is going to be our strong side. So either way, our back judge is looking here, number 2. That puts our short wing looking for number 3, which is interesting here. That's going to be all the way across the formation, which means normally at the snap we'd forget about him. But this play is going to be a little different. All right, our referee is left tackle. Our umpire is these 4 interior linemen. We have another deep wing off the screen who's coming to the tight end. And we have a short wing off the screen who'd be looking at number 7 right here. Okay. So at the snap, we got everybody covered in this manner. All right, now let's let it play a few steps. All right, so at this point right here, right before the foul occurs, all right, so our deep wing, their initial responsibility is yet to engage a player. So their eyes have probably and should already have moved to the next available thing to officiate. That's originally the back judge, and he's been engaged since pretty much the beginning of the play. So his eyes probably still going to be here, but they're conscious of things back closer to the ball. Okay, so we're looking here, but we need to be aware of things that are happening a little closer to the ball also. All right, interesting thing is our short wing, whose key was originally on the other side of the formation, and at snap you're thinking I'm probably not going to keep up with him. Well, guess what? He came right at you, right? So there he is. Okay, so he's blocking, actively blocking right here. Okay, so we're going to officiate that. The referee's left tackle has blocked down on a double team. Once you recognize that's a true double team, okay, then we can take a peek away from that and try to pick up a second lead block in front. Now, why not the double team? Well, for the most part, okay, if they sustain that double team at least, if he didn't chop block him at the snap, we're probably not going to have anything there. Now, could you? Yes, you could, but you're probably not. Okay, the umpire, he's on that guard tackle double team. Okay, all right, at this point. Okay, so right now, the only person who can see that block would have to be the referee, this block that's about to be illegal. Now, could we get a couple extra sets of eyes on it? Well, let's go forward just a little bit more. There's the illegal block. Okay, here's the catch. Deep wing is still here. Back judge is here, maybe peeking in here, but is he blocked out by these players? Probably. Okay, so he's probably still out here. The short wing is sometimes, especially short wings and umpires every play have more than one block to look at. Sometimes other officials do too. Short wings, it happens a lot. So here's the trick to this: is the short wings got to be able to see this, and they try to get their eyes here also. Okay, and that's not an easy thing to do. So that's a whole lot easier to draw arrows on this screen than it is to actually go do that with your eyes on the field in real time. But short wings here, and hopefully maybe able to also be looking at that second. That's a second block to them. The referee, though, is still on the block here. Okay. The umpire's problem is you could argue that the umpire can transition over there, but he's pretty much blocked out. He'd be looking through those two players right there. So he may not see enough of that to know exactly what happened. So back to how to answer our question here is who's going to see this play. Probably going to have to be the referee. I would say that the short wing might be the second one to see it. The umpire, maybe the third, maybe the back judge might possibly get a peek in there, but it's not quite far enough downfield for us, I would think, really to expect the back judge to get a look. So referee. All right, so we got to pick up lead blocks. Everybody's got to pick up lead blocks, okay? And there's several plays, and we missed stuff, all across. We've been missing block below the waist district wide so far this year. So when we go back and look at those, let's take this approach. Let's think about where we should be looking. And as an individual official, I need to be thinking about where my eyes should have been. Should I have seen that? Is there a chance I could see it? Is there something I can do different next week to make sure I see it? Or maybe if I want to take my game really to another level, is how do I work on my eyes transitioning a little faster from block to block? Maybe I get comfortable enough that I can see two things at once now. And maybe I pick up something that's really maybe a secondary look for me, but I still get it. And if it's a big safety foul like this, then we can throw on it, even if it's kind of a secondary look for us. All right. So that's our week 5 review. If you have any questions, you can contact me, and good luck in week 6.